Okay, so this is the test review warm-up for Honors Algebra 2's unit on quadratics and polynomials. For the first 5, we have to solve 2 by factoring, 1 by completing the square, 1 quadratic formula, and 1 square root method. So number 1 is going to be my square root method. I'm going to subtract the 9 to the right side and square root. So the square root of negative 9 is plus or minus 3i, and then add the 4, so x equals 4 plus or minus 3i. For number 2, I'm going to move everything to the right-hand side and then check, does that factor? Anything multiplied in negative 42 that adds to negative 1 will be negative 7 and 6. So then x minus 7 equals 0, x plus 6 equals 0, x equals 7, and x equals negative 6. All right, so I did 1 factoring, so I have 1 more. And then number 3, I think I'm going to do that one with completing the square since the b value is even. I'm going to move the 4 to the right-hand side. Half of 10 squared is 25. I can factor the left, combine like terms on the right, square root both sides. Don't forget your plus or minus, and add the 5. So we get 5 plus or minus root 21. All right, so we got 4 and 5. One's going to factor and one's quadratic formula. Okay, so 4 times 12 is negative 48. And would any pair of numbers then that multiply to 48 add to negative 13? So let's see, 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 16. So you can box method or split the middle. I need a little extra room. So here's my box method. 4x squared negative 12 be negative 6x and 3x based on the pair values we chose. 3x can only be 3 and 1. So that means this must be 4x and, wait a minute. Oh, that's supposed to be a 16. Okay, woo, not 6. Negative 16 and 3. So then this is a 4, but negative to make that negative 12 and negative 16x. So our factors are x minus 4 and 4x plus 3. And then when we solve each factor, we get x is 4 or negative 3/4. So that leaves quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And your test is no calculator, so you have to simplify this with no calculator. I don't have a lot of room here, so let me continue on my scrap paper. 25 minus, and then 8 times 7 is 56. Oops, that's underneath the radical. So let's see. 56 minus 25 is 31, but negative. So my final answer is going to be negative 5 plus or minus I root 31 to simplify that. All divided by 4. Okay, identify the roots, factors, and x-intercepts. So for number 1, this quadratic factors to x minus 8, x plus 3, which means the roots or the zeros are the solutions, which are 8 and negative 3, and those are also both real numbers, so those are the x-intercepts. For number 2, First off, there's a mistake. This needs to be plus 10 for it to factor. Sorry about that. Everybody change that to plus 10. Now it factors. So what multiplies to 20 that adds to 9 is going to be 4 and 5. So now we've got 2x minus 5 and x minus 2. You can box method, split the middle. Here's my box method. So we're going to go negative 5, negative 2, which means this is 2x and 1x. So there's my x minus 2 and 2x minus 5. So the solutions are 5 over 2 and positive 2. Both of those are real numbers, so both of those are my x-intercepts. So for 3, that doesn't factor. So I have to solve first and find the zeros before I can write the factored form. So nothing here says I had to go in order. I'm going to go out of order. So for number 3, whoa, sorry. My apologies. Whoa. Okay, so let's solve that. X squared plus 16 equals 0. X squared is negative 16, so x is plus or minus 4i. So there are no x-intercepts because both of these are a pure imaginary number. But so my factor is x plus 4i, x minus 4i. We'll do the same thing for 4. The zeros or the roots. If I set this equal to 0 and square root both sides, we get plus or minus I root 10. So there are no x-intercepts again because both are imaginary. So we get x minus I root 10, x plus I root 10. And for 5 and 6, anything multiplied to 13 that adds to 6? No. So let's complete the square to find the roots or the zeros. And I'm choosing complete the square since b is even. So x is negative 3 plus or minus 2i. Those are your roots. There are no x-intercepts since both of these are complex numbers. So then our factors are going to be x minus negative 3 plus 2i times x plus minus negative 3 minus 2i. So it's always x minus the root. X minus the root. But this is the root with the plus 2i, and this is the root with the negative 2i. All right, number 6. Does it factor? No. So let's solve it. I'm going to complete the square again since this is an even number. So x equals negative 2 plus or minus root 14. So those are your roots. And these are real numbers, so they're also the x-intercepts. So I'll write those here. And then our factors, it's going to be x minus negative 2 plus root 14. X minus negative 2 minus root, 14. You can't read that. I'll write it down here. The factors, x minus negative 2 plus root 14 times x minus negative 2 minus root 14.